Alright, welcome back everyone to a new video right here, and this time I'm here with the optimization project which is part of the calculus class or course as you may want to say. So let's get started with this. Now let me give you a basic understanding of what we're going to do. We were supposed to create a question for this project. A question that is a story problem, and then we were on our own going to solve it. So this one that I have made right here is like the easiest one, yet it might get confusing sometimes because of the topic that I have chosen. So just bear with me, have patience, and I will explain every single bit of the whole problem. Now at the end there is one more thing that I will go through with you guys, so just stay until the end. Don't skip the video or close the video after I am done with the solution. Alright, let's get started. To the next slide. Now this is the question. The question says, suppose you have $1,000 to invest in the stock market. You can invest in two stocks, two of them, Apple and Microsoft. Apple has an expected return of 5% and Microsoft has an expected return of 8%. Now your goal is to maximize your expected return. That's it, like simple as it sounds. How much should you invest in each stock to achieve this goal? Alright, so let me give you a hint before you move on, or you can pause the video and try to solve this question on your own. For those who are thinking that no, I will just go on right ahead. Alright, let's go. So the hint of this problem: we can use derivatives to find the maximum value of the expected return function. Then we can set up the function as the sum of the expected returns from each stock and then take the derivative. So basically we are just going to use the derivative. We will first set up the function as the sum of expected returns from each stock, and then we take the derivative with respect to the amount invested in each stock. Then by setting the derivative equal to 0 and solving for the amount invested in each stock, we can then find the optimal solution, which would be an optimal which would be the expected return, the highest expected return. That would be our optimal solution. Alright, so if you understand what I said, you can pause the video once again and work out on your own of this, or we can just move on like I'm going to move on now. Alright, solutions started. Step 1, what are we doing? So we are going to let X be the amount invested in Apple and Y be the amount invested in Microsoft. Since we have $1,000 to invest, the following becomes our constraint: X plus Y equals 1,000. So X, which is the amount invested in Apple, and Y, the amount invested in Microsoft. This whole thing simply means, this whole thing simply means that both the stock purchases combined, X and Y, I can only spend $1,000 within the two stock options, which is something that I said before, and those are the constraint. Two stock options, that's my constraint, and the maximum I can spend is $1,000. That's another constraint, but the most important is the $1,000 one. The two stock options don't matter as of now. I will explain it later at the end, as I mentioned before as well. So now we go on to the step 2, which is the expected return from Apple, right? That is 0.05 x, because like I said before, it was 5%, so we multiply it with 0.05 times x. And from Microsoft it was 8%, which becomes 0.08 y. Alright, so the total expected return becomes the following function, which is right here, 0.05x plus 0.08y. Now note one thing: to maximize the expected return, we need to find the maximum value, right, of the function which is given right here, like 0.05x plus 0.08y, which is subject to the constraint that x plus y equals 1000. So the next step is where we make the magic happen. I don't know how to get this pen thing out of it, but alright, we got it. Now we go into the next slide, which is step 3, right? This is the magic thing. Since y equals 1000x, so what I did was x plus y equals 1000. I subtract x on both the sides to get y equals 1000 minus x. We can then rewrite the function as 0.05x plus 0.08 1000 minus x in parentheses. So what I just did was substituted this y value that was right here into the function that we had before for the expected return function. So, and that whole thing solves to this right here, which is 0.03x plus 80. Now it's a negative. That's what we have to keep in mind. It's negative 0.03x plus 80. Alright. Now we can finally move on to the next question. Solution step, which is step 4. We take the derivative of the function that we found the last time, which was f of x, like I said before, and then it must be with respect to x, and we get negative 0.03 after you do the power rule stuff and everything. Alright, now since the derivative is a constant and does not equal to 0, there are no critical points. This means one and only thing: the maximum value of f of x occurs at one of the endpoints of the interval, which was 0 and 1000. So what I say, the maximum value can happen either at 0 or 1000, not in the between. Alright, so now we go on to the next step, where we determine how that works and what it will be. Step 5. If we invest all of $1000 in Apple, then f of x equals 1000 equals negative 0.03 times 1000 plus 80. That gives us $50. So that was the return that we get on $1000, $50. That's it. But if we keep f of x equal to 0, then we get $80. So what this whole thing means, we should invest all of that $1000 in Microsoft. Now you might get confused here. This is a little bit tricky. I also found it tricky when I was trying to solve the question on my own. When I framed it, I never saw this coming, but then I understood it. The thing is that in the question that I said before, not in the question, but in the solution step 1, I said x represents the amount of money invested in Apple, and y is the amount of money invested in Microsoft, right? Since you have a total of $1000 to invest, we have the constraint that x plus y equals 1000. This first point is just to refresh your memory of what we did at the first point. Now, when we set x equal to 0, it means that we are investing $0 in Apple, right? And since we have the x plus y equals $1000 function, that is the constraint function of the limited spending, this means that y equals 1000 minus x. That leads to 1000 minus 0, like I said, from here x equals to 0, right? That gives us $1000, for which y equals $1000. So that means if I invest $0 in Apple, then I invest $1,000 in Microsoft, right? That's what it means simply. And the reason why we set x equal to 0 is because we found that this value of x maximizes the expected return, right? So when x equals to 0, the expected return is $80, and that is from Microsoft, which is higher than the expected return while we invest all 1000 in Apple, where x equals 1000. Like I said, like we did before, right? When I give 1000, when I invest 1000 in Apple, I was getting $50 in return, whereas when I invested 0 in Apple, meaning 1000 in Microsoft, I got $80, right? So what we are all talking about here is maximizing the expected return, whose function is x plus y equals 1000. This was a simple defined function right there from a simple question. Now, if you take a look at its graph, right, it will be a slant line. It would be going something like this, where my y axis is this, and it will be going like this. I think the video is inverted, but it would look something like this. So at x equals 0, the maximum value would be 1000, and y and x equals 1000, y would equal to 0. That's what it would look like in the graph. That is whole reason why we want to invest in Microsoft than in Apple. Now, this is the end of the solution, but there is one more thing that I wanted to mention, and this is very complex. I mean, when you go ahead in the calculus course, it would get complex, I mean, for sure. But this is something that is pertaining and relating to this optimization concept or topic. Now, if I take this same scenario, same question that I made, but I make some small changes, like I increase the number of stock options, right? Or if I increase the limit amount, right? Most important in that case would be the amount of the number of stock options, right? So currently we had only two stock options, which was Apple and Microsoft. Let's say I wanted to add Alphabet, the parent company of Google, right? Let's say I wanted to add that as well. So now I have three options: Microsoft, Apple, and Alphabet. What would happen then if I make these changes is that uh, the expected return function would become x plus y plus z if I assume z equals the invested amount in Alphabet, and that would equal to 1000. Then what I will have to do is I will have to find the optimized function to that with the certain expected return rate. Like if I had 5% for Apple, 8% for Microsoft, but 7% for what do you say, Alphabet, then I will have to find a perfect function. I will have to combine these two functions in such a way that I will have an optimized function, or I think it's called as objective function, and then later on I can find the maximum value while using the derivative and then plug and check in the critical points in the function. That is whole same process but with more variables, I would say. So I forgot to go on to the next slide, but this is how it all says. It's the whole same thing that I just said, but for your reference it's a good thing if you are a good reader rather than listener. So that's it. I'll pause for 4 or 5 seconds and then I'll go to the next screen. Alright, to the next screen, which is the end of the video. So thanks for watching. See ya.